GCCI Gujarat Sustainability Summit 2025. The GCCI Gujarat Sustainability Summit 2025, organized by the Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry at Hotel Kristar LLP, Ahmedabad, marked a significant step in promoting sustainable business practices. As Gujarat's first industry-led sustainability summit, it brought together over 30 distinguished speakers, policymakers, industry leaders, and international delegates from the UK, Denmark, and the Netherlands to discuss environmental, social, and governance initiatives. GCCI President Sandeep Engineer emphasized the necessity of proactive ESG adoption for Indian businesses to remain globally competitive. Jaxay Shah, Chairperson of QCI, introduced the Pride Framework as a roadmap for India's sustainable future. Sessions covered net zero targets, the economics of low carbon transition, global sustainability trends, and green finance. Over 20 institutions, including IIT Gandhinagar, IIM Ahmedabad, and Adani University, participated alongside corporate sustainability heads. The event achieved carbon neutrality by offsetting 16 tons of CO2 through a Miyawaki tree plantation initiative. The summit concluded with a call to action, urging businesses, policymakers, and industry leaders to integrate sustainability into Gujarat's and India's economic future. Report Bilkul Online.
President of GCCI and GCCI ESG Taskforce has organized a unique event on sustainability. Sustainability is the today's subject and future subject on preserving the globe. And first we preserve our city, our state, our country, and everything goes to preserving the globe. This Sustainability Summit is a unique summit, first time happening in Gujarat and also in India level. There may be very few of these summits happen on sustainability, and this is one of them. We are talking today about ESG compliance. ESG compliance is the new norm of the globe. All the developed countries are asking for ESG compliance. And what is the ESG compliance? What is sustainability? And how it is needed in today's time for the future generation to preserve our nature. And today many speakers are going to speak on various subjects on environment, safety, on sustainability, social impacts, and also on the transparency of doing business. So it's a unique program happening from GCCI ESG Committee. Thank you.
Sir.
Also, of course, we promised you a net zero event, and so as I thank my panelists.
You cannot really replicate, it has to be tailored, and that's exactly what we learned also.
All right, let's take another question. Many large businesses, especially exporters, have engaged in the conversation around sustainability. how will the benefits of sustainability reach traditional MSMEs and encourage them to take action? When will we see the narrative shift and what will lead to it?
I'll start and then pass it on. Simple. When we work with MSME, we think about impact, right? We talk a lot about materiality. What's important to me? What's important to my value chain? Where I make the maximum impact. The Z-axis is that. You create that spider web and then you focus. So that's one. But passing on to the balance, please.
Well, that shift, and I think it's already been mentioned, that shift is when you see it through a lens of opportunity. Not as a challenge of only investments in terms of resourcing, time, etc. Whether if you operate locally or internationally. That being profitable and see it as an investment which will return. And no matter whether you are a big company or a smaller company. And that's a turning point in general. And it's already said, take learnings and don't make the same mistakes as big companies or other organizations. But look in your business strategy. Where in your operations, where can you become more efficient? And then it's for you, it's a business model as well.
Should we squeeze in one last time? We're out of time, but okay. Is it a viable option to integrate ESG requirements with EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment Studies in India? Just a quick response on that.
Actually, I'll go to Najib. I know we both come from that typical. If you can.
Sure. So, yes, EIAs are an important area or a study that gives clear picture of how kind of impacts that this particular new development will have. But the most important point is, how are you going to mitigate this impact? The mitigation is where the key to success lies. And the EIAs are very well, equipped to be able to guide with a management plan. That management plan requires more integrated details to aspects like biodiversity, which is something that is not largely picked up by, unless it is very, very important. Aspects related to the waste management, aspects related to new researches, because if we only depend on the natural resources that we have, these resources are going to deplete. How are we making sure that we reduce their consumption and be more reliant on new energy solutions and new replacement to virgin raw materials? Yeah, that's my
The only thing I'll add is think about MSME, because that has been the theme. They don't need to really go for full-on EIAs. Whoever has studied EIAs will realize that there are smaller things you can do, right, Najib? So what we have seen in Australia, New Zealand, and of course in Europe.
Just very quickly, I think, when I hear that question, deep-rooted inside, is where I indicate a little bit of concern. It sounds like, we are still seeing this as compliance. And when we say EIA and ESG, let's not think of them as compliance. When you think of it as an opportunity, perspective will change. I'll just repeat that once again. The second thing is, EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment, ESG, again someone has mentioned earlier, Environmental Social Governance. You can set up a solar power plant and say we generated X gigawatts and so on. What was the impact by displacement of people? What happens to solar panels end of life? Do you leave that site 30 years later? If you do, as it was or better? All those aspects and the governance of it are very different, and they make you a better company. EIA, of course, does reduce your environmental impact, but they are two different things. So A, don't look at them similarly, but B, look at them as a lens of opportunity. It all combines growth. So thank you.
Wonderful. Can we have a big round of applause for Alex? And first, we will come and join us and give a big memento to our speaker.
Always local. Apart from, of course, the global warming is a big topic, but the challenges are local and the industries are local and all this. But
all that learning that has happened both in Europe and in China or even in the US, use that as a reference, because don't make the same mistakes. That's a very important point. And also find those good examples, like I mentioned, the public procurement in Northern Europe. That could be a nice example and develop. Maybe it's not for the buildings in Gujarat, maybe it's for in another area, but find inspiration and don't make the same mistakes.
No, look, just to convey.